for year had said this is the year. Definitely, the Wings are going to make it. They lost in a tiebreaker situation last year to Washington, who again now is the number one team in the East. But so we thought for sure this Red Wing team, would make it into the playoffs. Fell short again. Coaching change. Initially, the coaching change really helped out really well because there was such a spark in that locker room and on the ice. We played really, really well, and then all of a sudden hit the skids after that Four Nations tour.
Yeah, there's so many. I guess the defining thought of the season is what happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people point to the fact that Lalonde probably should not have even started the season.
Yep.
I mean, that was Keith's assessment of it. When Keith came in, he reiterated the fact that he didn't think the Wings were good enough to make the playoffs anyways, which proved to be true.
Yep.
I mean, where did they finish? They finished farther out of the wild card. I mean, they were tied last year. They were 4 points out of the wild card this year.
Yeah, like the whole last week and a half of the season was almost for nothing, basically.
Yeah. After they lost that game in Montreal, 10 days ago?
Yeah.
That pretty much sealed their fate. And kudos to Montreal. They haven't been in the playoffs in how long?
And you see how they reacted at that.
How long had it been?
Oh, it's been a long, long time. And that was a team that they were early in the season. They were buried. I mean, they were like one of the worst teams in the NHL.
They had the worst record in the NHL December 10th.
And that shows you the turnaround, a sustained turnaround, what can happen. And what's so weird about this Red Wings team is to see them play so well after McClellan comes in and that initial change. You're like, oh my gosh, this is what we were hoping for, all of that. And then all of a sudden the switch got flipped.
2021. So it had been not as long as I thought, to be honest
But it's
with
just
you.
like how the drastic changes from such a high note of playing winning hockey to all of a sudden playing losing hockey then. All of a sudden. It just like it was night and day, and you wonder what the heck is going on.
Yeah. I want to look at when the last time won the Stanley Cup.
Ooh.
Which I think that's Jacques Demers.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. I mean, that's... And we know what time.
85-86 is the last time the Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup. That's ridiculous considering they won 24 in a row to start the NHL history.
You look to a fan base that's starving for a championship, right there, and especially as
They've won 35 cups, which is by far and away the most.
That's ridiculous.
The Wings are second or third. But, when I was a kid growing up, Les Habitants, they were it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Rock stars in Canada. I think they were probably way more famous than even Gretzky and the Oilers got.
Yeah, Mickey Redmond tells stories about when he was there and all what it meant to that whole province and everything. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I know there's a ton of pressure on the Canadiens because the Maple Leafs haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1966.
And they've had a superstar there for years.
Yeah, Matthews, the sixth fastest guy ever to 400 goals. A guy that, because of bad lottery luck, the Wings didn't get.
Yep.
So
another one.
Another one of those. So what is it? There's 5 Canadian teams in the playoffs, and I'd have to look again. Through the miracle of Google to see when the last time a Canadian team has won a Stanley Cup, but that's been a while.
Yeah, you think back to, I mean, of course we think back to the great Edmonton days and all of that when Gretzky was there with all of those guys, but that's been a long time. So right off the top of my head right now, I cannot.
Don't worry about it.
Recollect
just keep talking.
So, but again, playoff hockey is great entertainment, for people that say, are...
1993.
93.
Yeah.
Long.
When the Canadiens defeated the Kings, the Barry Melrose series. That's when Gretzky was on the Kings.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. It's a long time for a Canadian team who, basically invented the game and wears that on their chest. They've lost a ton of finals since then.
Yes.
But 30 years.
Yeah.
Over 30 years since a Canadian team hoisted the cup.
Incredible.
Yeah. It's Rich, even I don't know where hockey ranks as your favorite sport. It's maybe fifth for me because how much I love golf.
Right.
But there's nothing like the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, the amount of passion they play with, how hard they fight for pucks, and guys skating with injuries, broken legs and broken arms. And
late last night on Vice, I watched this show called Grudge, and they talked about the hated rivalry of the Red Wings and the Avalanche. Bringing back that. So it's a half-hour show, short and sweet, and this show goes every 30 minutes talking about other grudge matches and things. But one of their top ones was the Red Wings Avalanche.
Well, it would be very interesting. It can happen now. It didn't happen back in the day because the Wings were in the Western Conference, so they had to. The Avalanche and the Wings had to get through each other to make it to the finals.
Yes.
So a couple of times those games were de facto world championships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You think about that for sure. The 97 or so, when the Wings won it, they beat the Avalanche in the Western Conference Championship then, and then just steamrolled Philadelphia then after that. So, but
the Flyers were favored
to
win that series. That's when they had the
Lindros, was he?
Yeah, Lindros was there, but their front line, all three of those guys were like 6'5".
Right, huge hulking dudes on skates that just very intimidating.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, another season without playoff action for the Red Wings. I read an article in the Free Press a couple days ago by Carlos Monterrez, who's the Free Press, who took Keith Gave's job covering the Wings. And he said, it's not time to fire Steve Yzerman yet.
But, exactly. I agree. You know what I mean? You don't want to get rid of Stevie. Obviously the moves that he's made have not worked out to the point of getting into the playoffs. But I can think there's going to be some moves this offseason, no question about it. And we'll see what happens. But I'm sure things definitely are warming up there, no question about it.
Well, what Keith said last week was he doesn't think that the Ilitches will ever fire Yzerman.
Right.
Because they think step down.
They think of him as a son, basically, and I could see. Right, you could see one of those things. If it just is not working, you could see one of those things where he, like you said, opts out go out on his own terms, maybe with a nudge.
Yeah, there's big things coming. Like, do you bring Kane back again? He's wildly inconsistent. So is DeBrincat, for that matter. There's not a lot of serious bedrocks to build on this team.
Right.
Sider and a couple of the young guys worked out pretty well this year.
Yep, got some good experience, that's for sure.
But, we need some top liners.
And we do.
We talked about this again with Keith last week, that Dylan Larkin is a very good hockey player, but he's not a superstar.
No, he's not. He needs to be he needs a lot of help, and he needs to, he needs some help on that second line. He needs some forwards and another centerman.
Oh, God, he needs everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what, you would really think maybe for the most part, Larkin would be the second line center, all that, if you could somehow.
No, he's a first line center if you have good wings.
Yeah.
He's a fine centerman. He's a good two-way hockey player, but he's not a superstar. He's not Sidney Crosby.
No.
He's not Steve Yzerman.
No. But again, you did see, in that Four Nations Cup there, we saw
because he was playing with other guys.
That's exactly right. They concentrated more on the other guys,
That's right.
and that left Larkin with a little more space,
Yep.
and he saw how dangerous he can be with that little bit of space.
Yeah, and goaltending is still kind of a mess. I don't know if Kos is going to be able to step in. No matter what, if Kos is ready, who's the goalie at the Grand Rapids Griffins, huge kid. I don't even know what his numbers were like this year, but they've been grooming him.
Yep.
But unless some kind of transformation happens and he becomes Connor Hellerbuck,
Right.
I mean, he's not going to be a transformative player for the Red Wings.
Doesn't look that way. And the Red Wings
might be
draft
better off
pick
waiting.
with the Michigan State kid, he's coming. He made a decision. He's going back for another year at Michigan State.
Yeah, he's getting paid.
Heck yeah, NIL baby, and loves that team, and they've got a good team, and so he's again, but that's a few years away from where he could possibly be in net for the Wings. But
what's ridiculous for me is the lack of time that the NHL gets off from the playoff. They start on Saturday.
I know.
I think every team in the league played last
night.
Yeah.
Ended last night, and you're starting. You get one
NBA,
day.
I mean, you got the play-in tournament for the NBA, and
but they give you
all
a
the other
week.
guys are off a week.
Yes, to kind of heal up some of those bumps and bruises and strains, and actually practice. But I mean that's something during the regular season. A lot NBA teams don't get a whole lot of practice time because they're busy with traveling and games. 2 and 3 games a week. You're not always able to get into the gym and work on things. So I'm sure every one of these playoff teams, including the Pistons, are really glad to be able to work on some things.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we'll talk about the Pistons coming up here in the next segment, but for the NHL to say, back at it, boys.
Yeah,
I mean, that's so hockey.
It is exactly. Yep. Go stitch it up. Get back in there. But yeah.
Rub some ice on it.
Yeah. No kidding. But no, it's so true. You know what I mean? That is such the hockey mentality to just continue to play. But again, it would be a better product most likely giving them a little bit of time there.
Yeah, you don't want too much time off.
No,
obviously, especially we saw that with the Four Nations Cups. It was, it did not help us.
No, it did not. No, that was too much time for a break there for sure. Yeah, there's a happy medium there for sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to go over. We'll start in the West, and Rich and I will give our completely uninformed picks for the first round and maybe go all the way down here. So Winnipeg is playing St. Louis. St. Louis is another one of those teams that came out of the chutes in the second half. They were way down in the standings.
Right.
And they play Winnipeg, which was the President's Trophy winner.
Right.
With Connor Hellebuck in net.
Yep. He went through some things during the season that he wasn't playing as well at times, but I think that's all been taken care of and is back to his old self.
Yeah, you've got Dallas is playing Colorado, which is an incredible series. That could be a Western Conference final.
Right.
And they're meeting in the first round. That's a 7-game series for sure. You'd like to think that Colorado will make it out of there, but I don't know.
Right.
Vegas they come into the league and an expansion team, and they've made the playoffs every single year and won a Stanley Cup. I mean,
it's just
who's
crazy.
ever running that,
that is
a genius. Is it Billy Bean?
Yeah, that's exactly right. To see that happen so fast in an expansion team is an absolute miracle.
Yeah. So they're playing Minnesota. You think the Knights will make it out of there?
I think so too. 110
and
points.
the Los Angeles Kings and the Edmonton Oilers. I think most of us would assume that Edmonton will win that series. That makes a huge matchup with Edmonton and the Knights. It's coin flips all the way down after that.
That's right. Yeah. When you have two superstars with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl for Edmonton, man, that's tough.
Yeah, they were right there last year.
Yes.
On the eastern side of it, Toronto's playing Ottawa. That's going to be an incredible series.
It is.
All the pressure in the world that we just pointed out on Toronto, and these two teams are 100 miles apart.
Right. Yeah.
That is going to be a bloodbath.
It will. That's a great rivalry.
And then another rivalry, that's less than 200 miles apart is Tampa and Florida, who hate each other. Washington and Montreal is going to be interesting to me. Obviously a massive turnaround by the Capitals. And then so much focus on Ovechkin getting the scoring record versus a Canadiens team that we pointed out, just made it into the playoffs.
Right.
It's going to be a zoo at Maple Leaf or at I don't know what they call it
anymore. Right, at their stadium there in Montreal.
It's got to be named after Molson or Labatt's, right?
Exactly. Things they know.
Yeah. Beer.
Yes.
Beer City.
Yeah. Their captain is Suzuki. He's the guy that encouraged the management to say, "Don't make a trade during the trade deadline." Yeah. I really like this team. We're going to come on, and sure enough, he proved them right.
And then I don't know what to make of the Carolina. Carolina should beat Jersey.
You would think.
But all the other series here, I got no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto should advance.
They should.
Yeah.
But every year you see the pressure build on them. And it shows during this time.
There's no doubt about it.
I mean, they basically have choked away a lot of opportunities.
Anyways, NHL playoffs begin. The very cool part about the first round of these playoffs is there's 3 games every day.
Yeah.
and there's always a game late.
Yeah.
And if you can't sleep or whatever,
right.
Or luckily I have an upstairs bedroom. I'm like, okay, Cheryl.
Oh yeah, you got to have a separate room for the late night viewing for sure.
Because as much as my wife is not that interested in sports, and I know Julie doesn't watch a lot of sports.
No, she doesn't.
But hockey. Never.
Yeah.
Never, never.
My wife, she was tuned in big time at the Masters, though, the last week there.
Yeah,
she watched a whole lot of that.
Trust me, we'll have a little Masters conversation. Some Pistons playoff conversation. I was hoping to have Jennifer Hammond here. I really wanted to start talking a little bit about the NFL draft, or the NFL draft and what the Lions are going to do. I think they're moving one way or the other.
I know.
They're either going to move up big time and make a huge splash, or they're going to be one of those teams that are looking at, the quarterback moves that people are talking about at the end of the first round.
Right, because some teams probably. All right.
Save it, Rich. That's when I go. When I do this.
Got it.
We'll be back after these words from our fire partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Face-Off, brought to us by TVCAirport.com.
It's time for Destination ML.
This summer, fly nonstop from TVC to 20 amazing destinations, like their newest route, New Haven, Connecticut. Fly nonstop with American, Delta, and United, or enjoy ultra-low fares on Allegiant, Avelo, Sun Country, and TVC's newest airline, JetBlue. TVCAirport.com.
The Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best 2025 Reader's Choice Contest is now open. Nominate your favorite Northern Michigan businesses, organizations, and professionals as Simply the Best. Nominate once daily in each category through Friday, May 9th. In 2024, Simply the Best broke records with nearly 15,000 nominations and more than 29,000 votes. Help your favorites stand out above the rest. Voting begins May 12th. So nominate now at record-eagle.com/simplythebest.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of Northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
Hey, it's Anthony Bellino from Spin on Sports, Michigan Sports Dog Morning Show on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard live weekday mornings from 6 to 9 right here on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY. Whether it's Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Lions, Michigan State, the Big Ten, the Mid-American Conference, all the headlines, all the stories, and always Michigan teams first. It's all right here on Spin on Sports, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on the Great Voice Radio Network. Heard locally on Up North Sports Radio 101.1 WGRY.
Welcome back to Friday Face-Off on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by TVCAirport.com. We'll be talking to Kevin Klein soon. He's actually having a meeting with the governor and the senator about some stuff with that airport expansion.
Right.
So, but we just heard from Anthony Bellino. Check out his show every day here on Up North Sports Radio. Does a great job, and I have a regular segment that I told you about. Did you listen to it today?
I did not this morning.
Get out.
But no, I will be tuning in.
That's all right.
You'll be talking some golf every Friday.
Every Friday leading up to the Finding Fairways program that we do here on Saturday and Sunday. But, not just the golf world, Rich, but the sporting world in general, I think, was riveted to the TV.
Oh.
I mean, I know you don't play golf, but have you ever seen the amount of pressure affect an athlete like you did Rory McIlroy on Sunday?
No, not at all. You could feel it for him. It came through the TV right into your own living room, or it's just like, wow. That some of the shots that he did not make and then would rebound and hit, you saw the talent, then you saw the pressure. It was riveting.
Yeah, it was riveting. I mean, ultimately, and we get into this big time on Friday Face-Off or on Finding Fairways if you want to watch this. I think it's already up on Up North Sports Radio's Finding Fairways page, or it'll run live here on the radio tomorrow and Sunday at 9 a.m. But to me, it was the personalization, the visual personalization of what any athlete goes through under serious pressure.
Right.
And golf is unique in a lot of different ways because you have to think about every shot. The reason why I love golf, I love basketball, but basketball, you're just in constant motion.
Right.
And it's a reaction sport, or you force the action sport. You can't do that in golf.
No.
No matter what you do, you've got a lot of time to think about following up a fantastic shot you just hit or following up a horrible shot you just hit.
It's so mental.
It's all mental.
Yeah.
I mean, most people will tell you that golf is 95% mental and 5% or 10% ability. Right. And some guys like Rory McIlroy has been an amazing golfer since he was a little kid.
Right.
A lot of people used to show, when Tiger Woods was on the Mike Douglas show or the Bob Hope show or whatever, when he was 5 years old. Rory did the exact same thing in Ireland.
He did. He was the Ireland version of Tiger, yes.
Yeah. I mean, he was groomed to play this game. Won at a very early age. His first major should have been the Masters.
Yes.
At 21 when he blew up and shot a 40 on the backside, leading by 4 or 5 shots.
Shanking those shots into parts that you've never seen at Augusta National. You're like, I didn't realize that was there.
And always, in the majors, meltdowns are legendary.
Oh, they are.
Greg Norman winning by 6 at Augusta and just falling apart. And
who was the British guy at the British Open?
Not Jean-Claude Van Damme,
but similar to that, right? You're just like, and he just he couldn't see.
No, on the last hole he had a 3-stroke lead and he hits it into the water and then he goes in. He's going to hit it out of the water and he actually made a pretty tough putt to make it into the playoff, but lost in the playoff.
Yeah. John Van de Velde was
John Van de Velde, very good.
Okay. But golf is just absolutely, and again, Rory closing out on the Grand Slam. That's what made this.
Well, that added to the pressure. The thing I was going to say, unfortunately, I've got a little snot going on today, folks. I apologize. But it's so hard to recover once that downslide happens. I can't think of a time where a guy was really messing up, pulled the reins in, and flipped the switch. When the switch gets flipped down in golf, it never comes back. And you know, Rory had, just to be quick to run through what happened, you know, he double bogeys the first hole with Bryson DeChambeau. So right away his 2-shot lead is gone. Then DeChambeau birdies the second hole, which everybody had, but Rory didn't. So he's in 2 holes. He's down.
He's down. Yep.
Now he gets a massive break when DeChambeau at that point in time falls apart.
He did.
He played like crap the rest of the way.
Yep.
Rory regained his composure, made some birdies, makes the turn, and he's 3 up again.
Yep. Things are looking good.
Yeah. And he's 4 up after number 11.
Yeah.
And makes a par at number 12. So you're like, okay, cool.
Yep.
Then Justin Rose and Patrick Reed start laying on, because that's what happens on the back 9 of the Masters. You can make birdies and eagles, and things can change. And then Rory, I understand him deciding to turn number 13 into a 3-shot hole, which he can easily reach into.
He was driving the ball so long and
Takes that-
and usually accurate too. But
Oh yeah, but it reminded me, Rich. As soon as he did it, I'm like, I don't think this is going to work.
Yeah.
Because you and I talked about this when you got a team that is winning and you decide to go into a delay.
Yes, exactly.
Or,
4 corners.
Yeah. So you change your plan.
You basically you change your personality, and that's stick with what got you there.
And that third shot is one of the worst shots ever hit in major golf. I mean, he has all the room in the world on the left side of the flag. He hits to the right, goes in the water, and all of a sudden, holy crap.
Yes, which should have been an easy birdie hole.
Even if he hits it into the water on his second shot, he's still easy to make 5.
Yes, you get a walk away with the par.
But he doubles that hole, and the whole thing changes again, and then he's all over the map. That shot that he hit into 15 will be legend.
Oh my gosh, that
forever.
was curl around that tree and just what a beautiful.
And kudos to Justin Rose, 10 birdies.
Coming up,
I make 10 birdies a year.
That was
10 birdies on the Sunday at the Masters.
And that's why when it went to the playoff, I'm thinking, man, Roy, I think Justin's probably going to win.
And he almost hit it into the hole. I mean, just think if that thing goes in and Rory is robbed.
Oh, exactly. I did think that. I'm like,
that's how Larry Mize beat Greg Norman. He chipped in from an impossible place.
Yeah.
I remember after that happened, like the next day, like 20 sports writers were out there trying to hit the chip in, and nobody even came close. And this is just golf BS, but again, have you ever seen anybody when he won and the release that he had? I didn't know if he was going to be able to get up off the ground.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, Rory's pretty buttoned up for the most part, but you saw what this meant to him finally with all the pressure and he did things that you normally never see out of him.
No, I mean, open weeping.
Yes.
And I went to bed like a half an hour after. I couldn't.
Oh, is that where you
I didn't have anything left.
Right.
I was completely run out.
Wow.
I told Cheryl, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to stay awake.
Right.
I got no energy. I got no emotion.
Right.
It was like attending a funeral.
Right. Wow.
It was just like, and then he rose from the grave, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So just an incredible Masters that will be talked about forever, and then just to put a bow on it, Rich, did you see any of his press conference?
Yeah.
When he goes, I want to start this press conference.
I got a question for you. What are you going to ask me next year at the Masters? Because
for 11 years.
And he did that. He was such a good sport about it. It came across really well.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was great. And and Rory is really revered by sports writers because he's always honest.
He is.
People got totally down on him last year when he didn't talk to the press after he lost in heartbreaking fashion at the U.S. Open.
Yes.
He missed 2 short putts on 16 and 18 that cost him the U.S. Open. And they showed him in the scoring tent when DeChambeau made his save and there wasn't going to be a playoff. And you could see how crestfallen he was. And he'd lost the U.S. Open the year before like that. And so he didn't talk to the press, and he got a crap ton of feedback. Like, I don't care if you win or lose or anything else.
I mean, come on. This guy that's been so accessible for so long.
And always speaks his mind.
Yes.
He doesn't give canned answers, like Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Swing feels good.
That's
Game
right.
is good. Rory's always talking about, what's going on in his, and sometimes in his personal life.
He's pretty much an open book,
and which is rare
Yeah.
for professional athletes. See Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly.
But, that was great. The press conference was beautiful. And, And now I don't want to have a huge golf conversation, so please check out Finding Fairways on Up North Sports Radio tomorrow at 9 a.m. or Sunday at 9 a.m., or you can go to Up North Sports Radio's page and click over to see that. But I don't think he's going to win the Grand Slam this year, but it's set up for him. They play at Oakmont, which is a U.S. Open site where bombers are going to rain. Then he's playing in Ireland at the Open Championship at Royal Fort Rush. And then the PGA Championship is at Quail Hollow. And he's won the PGA there already. And when they have their normal PGA stop there, he's won 4 times. So he is going to be
likes that course.
He's going to be far and away the favorite at the PGA. He will be the favorite probably in every one of the majors. Like I said, I can't. Fred Altvader asked me, he goes do you think there's more pressure on him to win the Grand Slam? I go, no. Right. There's no more. The pressure's over.
Exactly.
Yeah. When we return here on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Face-Off, we'll talk about Lions draft position. That'll probably be it. All I have to do is say, Rich, Lions, draft, and then we'll all shut up. Back after these on Up North Sports Radio, brought to us by TVCAirport.com.
Sports on the Michigan News Network. Sponsored by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
The Tigers continue their series with the Royals tonight at Comerica Park. Jackson Jobe toes the rubber, battling KC ace Phil Reagans. He's been solid so far this year in his 4 starts, logging a .228 ERA, allowing just 4 walks while striking out 34. First pitch at 6:40. We're just one day away from Pistons playoff basketball. JB Bickerstaff gave some insight on how the team is preparing.
Well, again, it's habit because our system isn't going to completely change overnight. So making sure we pay attention to who we are already. But again, it's about giving our guys the information that they need, and it comes in different ways. Our practices have been longer, but we haven't been on the floor the entire time. Right? There's a ton of film, there's documents, there's a whole bunch of things that we've been going through.
Kate Cunningham was on the cover of the New York Post today with the headline, Ready, Villain, and Able. According to Matt Zenitz, former Ferris State All-American offensive lineman Bryce George is committed to Iowa. Jeremy Otto, Michigan News Network.
This was my boyhood dream, game day in the NFL. And that dream came true for me until one wrong hit put an end to everything. Hi, this is former NFL tight end Mitch Lyons. That injury flipped my life upside down, and now I know your retirement can be blindsided too. Your nest egg needs protection. Let the pros at MitchLyonsWealth.com show you the best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. Don't be blindsided. Visit MitchLyonsWealth.com today.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This summer, fly nonstop from TVC to 20 amazing destinations, like their newest route, New Haven, Connecticut. Fly nonstop with American, Delta, and United, or enjoy ultra-low fares on Allegiant, Avelo, Sun Country, and TVC's newest airline, JetBlue. TVCAirport.com.
Coming right at you, the excitement you've been waiting for. Eagle Casino and Sports, the mobile casino made in Michigan, made for Michigan. Play slots and table games with live dealers at one exciting site, PlayEagle.com. Sign up today and get a match deposit up to $1,500. That's right, up to $1,500 plus 100 free spins. Eagle Casino and Sports. Go to PlayEagle.com and start winning today. Must be 21 or older and in Michigan to play.
All right, it's time to hang out at Shanty Creek. Jerry Coyne on with Lindsay Southwell. And Lindsay, a golf season right around the corner.
Yeah, I mean, the countdown's on. We're a week away from opening for the season. So I'm pretty excited to hit the links.
Hello, Lindsay.
Yes.
I don't know why. Is that Rook? Okay. My headphones are screwed up. Anyways, what a great deal you've got for the 60th anniversary for golf at Shanty Creek.
Yeah, so this year is our 60th anniversary of Summit Golf Course, our original course here at the resort. And so we thought we'd do a little celebration as we kick off the season. So May 1 through 12, we'll be offering $35 golf rounds for 18 holes with cart for any of our courses. So that includes Cedar River, Hawkeye, Legend, but Shush and Summit too. It's a fantastic deal.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Your collection of golf courses rivals any resort, not just in Michigan, but throughout the Midwest. As I've told you many times, my favorite golf course in northern Michigan to play is Cedar River. But you add that to the Legend and Shush Mountain. It's just the diversity of the courses is fantastic.
Yeah, and we pride ourselves on that variety. I mean, you come to the resort, you never have to get in your car again. You can just ride your shuttle around the resort, play really 5 different golf courses, all different feelings, all different levels and abilities, without even feeling like you're on repeat. You know, you can go a lot of places and feel like, well, this is just the same course, right? You don't get that at Shanty Creek. You get a wide variety of courses and conditioning.
Yeah, 100%. So you can book now for rounds of golf between May 1st and May 12th for $35, including cart. You better hurry up and do that, folks. I'm telling you, I got to imagine that a couple of courses are booked out on the weekends already, Lindsay.
Oh, absolutely they are. But if you can sneak away midweek, there's still a lot of availability in those midweeks. So make sure you get those tee times because they are getting scooped up. It's been a very popular offer, and we're excited to offer that. You know, we've done a lot of work on Summit Golf Course this past year, and we're excited to kind of showcase what's going on this year.
Yeah, I look forward to having Steve on Finding Fairways soon, and we look forward for a great golf season at Shanty Creek. ShantyCreek.com to get all the information about lodging and this special deal of $35 for any course. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's such an incredible deal.
It is.
I mean, people that if you're a golfer, man, you need to take advantage of this because
I guarantee that, and Lindsay already said that most of the weekend tee times are booked out. So if you heard this now, go to ShantyCreek.com right now and do that. We just heard Rich talking about the Cade Cunningham ending up on the New York Post back page, which is probably the most famous page in all of newspaper sports.
Right.
As ready, villain, and able. You know, Cade could really cement his reputation as a great by coming in and dominating the Knicks.
You absolutely. You go into Madison Square Garden and you put on a show, and you know the Knicks and most of their fans feel like this series is theirs, and it should be. And they're saying, "Oh, we're heavy favorites. It should be a cakewalk." All that kind of stuff. Just be careful with all that kind of stuff. Yes, the Pistons as a whole, most of these guys don't have a ton of playoff experience. They do have a few key guys that do. But I'm really anticipating. I'm so excited to be watching playoff basketball with the Pistons.
Yeah, the matchup is good for the Pistons. They've won 3 out of the 4 games in the regular season. Yes, playoffs are a totally different animal, but the Pistons play with a physical nature.
How the games are refereed are going to be huge, JC.
That's part of. I agree with you there, Rich, but it's also going to be about how like Asur Thompson and some of these guys that have never played in the playoffs, Ron Holland Jr., guys that are important pieces, respond because especially if there is foul trouble and guys have to come in and play. It's really important for Stewart to keep his head.
Yes.
We don't need him fouling out of games, getting thrown out of games and things like that. And I think you'll see that.
Yep.
Bickerstaff has had a number of his teams in the playoffs, so I don't think that's an issue. Let's see how they play game one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tomorrow evening there it's going to be great. Looking forward to it.
Yep. The NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs all in full force on Saturday. The lineup on the Western Conference is fantastic.
Oh, it is. It really is. I mean, that second seed through the 8th seed, I mean, just there wasn't much separation at all. And so there's some great matchups there. Minnesota and Golden State Minnesota's playing the Lakers. Yeah. So that's like an Ant-Man going against LeBron and Luka Doncic.
I can talk about this a little bit more intelligently than the NHL. In the Western Conference, tonight the Mavericks will play the Grizzlies. And you would like to think that these are the two teams that made it through the play-in game, Rich. Mm-hmm. And the Grizzlies should win this game. I mean, Dallas is an interesting team if Kyrie Irving is playing basketball, because Anthony Davis played great the other day.
Sure, yes.
But the one thing that I didn't know about this, now the Grizzlies, if they win this game, they lose their first-round draft pick. And it's somebody else's, so it's going to be a lottery pick no matter what.
Okay.
So if they think they're not going to really make moves, there's a lot of talk that, they'll just tank the game to keep their it could be as early as a 4th pick in the draft.
Okay.
But if they make it into the real playoffs, they lose it to somebody on a trade.
Okay.
It's not protected.
Right.
So that's interesting. I don't think that team, either team is going to play OKC, and I don't think they got any shot.
Right.
OKC is going to be a force no matter what. But then you got the Warriors, Golden State, and the Clippers, and the Clippers are playing incredible basketball. This is you got Steph Curry and Jimmy Buckets versus Kawhi Leonard. And the Billy Goat, who's having a great season, James Harden. That should be a great series. That should go 7 games. I think the Lakers are probably going to handle the T-Wolves.
Yeah, I think so too.
Julius Randle came over in that deal for Karl Anthony Towns, and he really hasn't played great.
He has not.
He's been okay. He's averaging, 15 and 10. But I don't think the Ant-Man can handle the Lakers by himself.
Right. And you're going to have to see some superhuman performances from him.
And last year, the Timberwolves, what's his name, just destroyed them. The point guard from that came over from Dallas to L.A.
Yeah, Luka
Doncic. Ripped the hearts out of the Timberwolves. So we'll see what happens there. I got to go backwards. The 4th and 5th game is the Clippers are playing the Nuggets. The Nuggets and the Warriors logo looks the same to me. So the Clippers are playing, the Joker and the Nuggets. And if Jamal Murray and the other guys that have been hurt and not playing so much, they don't show up, the Clippers are definitely going to win that series, even though Nikola Jokic, a lot of people are giving SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP.
Right.
But Jokic averaged a triple-double this year.
Oh, I know. He's just ridiculous.
He's ridiculous.
I mean, he is. And they fired their coach just a few weeks ago.
Insane. And then the Rockets are playing the Warriors, and that's going to be a fantastic series.
It's experience versus youth.
Exactly. Then the play-in game on the east side tonight, the Heat will play Atlanta. And whoever plays that will go on to play the Cavaliers, which I don't think is going to be a problem for the Cavs. Cavs playing outstanding basketball.
Oh, yes.
The Pacers are playing the Bucks, which is going to be a bloodbath. Those teams don't like each other very much.
No, that's a
If
great
Damian
matchup.
Lillard, they say he might be back for like game 3.
Yeah, they say he's going to be, he's off the blood thinners, he's
Yep.
off all that, so that's a good for them.
That's good for them. The Pacers are playing really good basketball. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year and took a couple games from the Celtics.
Yeah.
The Knicks playing the Pistons, and don't be surprised if the Pistons win that series.
Oh, that would just be...
That'd be
so-
fantastic.
Oh.
And then they'd end up playing the Celtics. How great would it be to start that rivalry again, Rich?
Oh, my God.
Pistons, Celtics, with a physical Pistons team.
Yes.
You know,
we're going to take a step back in time, baby.
can I look in the mirror and have
Right.
black hair again?
Yeah. Did I have no gray?
Yeah.
Boy, yes.
What happened to that guy? Okay. So there you go. There's the NBA playoffs. We'll be back after these words from our fine partners on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Face-Off, brought to us by TVCAirport.com.
Who knew? Fresh air is a destination. Breathe in the glacial carved canvas of northern Michigan's finest golf courses and have your breath taken away by scenic vistas from tee to green. The perfect place to perfect your game in more ways than one. The waves, woods, and wonder of Bel Air. Escape every day. Discover the magic of 90 holes at one resort. Shanty Creek Resort in Bel Air and online at shantycreek.com.
The Traverse City Record Eagles Simply the Best 2025 Reader's Choice Contest is now open. Nominate your favorite Northern Michigan businesses, organizations, and professionals as Simply the Best. Nominate once daily in each category through Friday, May 9th. In 2024, Simply the Best broke records with nearly 15,000 nominations and more than 29,000 votes. Help your favorites stand out above the rest. Voting begins May 12th. So nominate now at record-eagle.com/simplythebest.
You met at graduation. You went to college together, moved cross-country, and took countless vacations together. But time has taken its toll. Maybe you're not willing to part ways yet. Thanks to Roscommon Auto Recyclers, you won't have to. They have a large inventory of original manufacturer recycled parts. And if they don't have what you're looking for, their sales team can find it for you. Here's to many more years of adventures on the road from Roscommon Auto Recyclers. They do it all. RoscommonAutoRecyclers.com.
The USO in Michigan needs your help, Q Nation. They are accepting monetary donations at uso.org/donate/Michigan. Your contribution will purchase much-needed toiletries, snacks, and more for service members who have deployed to northern Michigan to do the heavy lifting and relief efforts after the recent catastrophic ice storm. The USO is here to strengthen military personnel, no matter what the mission. Donate today at uso.org/donate/Michigan and help the Michigan National Guard help you.
Hey Q Nation, it's J-Bo here, and I'm getting ready for the big J-Bo Billman Show at the venue in Cadillac on April 25th. Come down and be a part of a live concert DVD. We need you in the crowd, people. We'll be doing new J-Bo music, your favorite Billman Bros tunes, and even some Grinder Blues stuff. With special guest Heat Above, it's going to be an epic night. Tickets are just $20. Find the ticket link on the Q100Michigan.com homepage. That's Friday, April 25th. Presented by Q100 Michigan, the only place for rock and roll.
Back to Friday Face-Off on Up North Sports Radio. It's time for Destination MLB. Kevin Klein from Cherry Capital Airport on the phone with me. Kev, good to see the Tigers regain their form last night.
I'm glad they're back hitting the ball again, and Green's back at it. And so I think I like this series this whole weekend. So I think it'll be good, and I think it's a good test now for next week with the Padres. They're pretty hot.
Yeah, the Padres obviously playing great baseball, but the Tigers have been up to the competition. They play the Orioles, who are a playoff-bound team, so it's a tough 10 games, or 9 games now, of a homestand, but a 9-game homestand nonetheless. Then they head off to Houston, a town you know very well.
Oh, I love it. We were actually just doing a big marketing push in Houston because of our nonstop flight that will start in later to June with United Airlines. But if you want to get to this series, you can connect 369. Really easy to get there to Houston.
No doubt.
We love it. It's a good temperature time. It's a good temperature time to go now because in the middle of July it'll be hotter than Hades. So we want everybody to come our way in that time. But awesome fair to go to Houston. Great town to see baseball. Great park to see it. Beautiful. I've been outside that park many times, and a lot of fun. So great trip there. But then, you continue on. You got an L.A. trip that's coming up. That's around $600, and then you have another one going out to Colorado here at about $400. So, great trips coming up.
Kevin, is that trip to the Rockies? What is it? May 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Is that the nonstop? Is the nonstop up running yet?
Yes, it will be. It'll be up and going on May 5th, on that Monday the 5th.
There you go, folks. So you can fly nonstop. Cheryl and I so very excited that they have nonstops to Colorado, where our grandbabies are. So that's great news. Kev, anything else?
Hey, so looking further out, you got that Tampa Bay series that's out there.
Yep.
And so I tell everybody, advanced planning is great. It's only $136 round trip. So, hey, why not plan out there? Lots of great things happening at the airport. JetBlue starts on June 5th.
Right.
So to go out to Boston on June 5th, round trip $206.
Incredible.
So,
that is a fantastic rate. When does the Allegiant flights to Florida end, Kev?
Well, so what we'll see all the Tampa, that Orlando flights continue on through the summer. Punta Gorda will wrap up here at the end of May.
Okay.
Fort Lauderdale will go through August, and then everything kind of takes a break for Allegiant in September.
Right.
That's kind of everybody goes back to school, they take a break. And then everything returns back in October. So
okay.
So that's how Allegiant operates. Great opportunities to get to those Florida markets and see some ball games.
All right. No bigger baseball fan than Kevin Klein at tvcairport.com. Thanks, partner.
Thank you.
There you go. We can segue into Tiger baseball, Rich.
Yeah. not a better person could be running TVC Airport than Kevin Klein.
A lot of expansions plans there. Kevin will actually be on Northern Focus with me next week to talk a lot about what's going on at the airport in a larger sense. But, I love how invested people are in this Tiger team already.
Yes.
Because they panicked. They lost 2 games in a row to the Brewers. Like my son Joe calls me, oh, God, the season is good. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's his youth showing up there,
No, but it was in the newspapers and everything. The Tigers' bats ice cold.
It's the whole, the yin and the yang of the baseball season. People just got to relax and just kind of go. Look, like with Riley Green.
19 strikeouts and 31 at-bats.
At over a 50% ratio, yes, exactly. That was concerning.
Until yesterday.
All of a sudden, 3 hits. And then all of a sudden, no power hits or anything, but still, it's a start. He's seeing the baseball better now. But even really good players go through ups and downs. It's so hard to hit a baseball consistently.
Oh, God, yes.
It's just one of the most difficult things to do in any professional sport.
No matter how great you are, you're going to have ups and downs at the plate. You're going to have ups and downs from the mound. Casey Mize pitched great his first 2 games out of the blocks, and had a little stumble against the Brewers.
He struggled, yes, exactly.
But the defense is troubling. The Tigers are giving up a lot of errors that, of course, are leading to unearned runs.
Right. And that's where some of that stuff, guys playing out of position per se, with that, why we have so many injuries, not in the pitching staff, but in our field to play. You got Ryan Kreidler.
Extra at bats.
No, you can't.
Kreidler is not a good fielder. Colt Keith is not a good fielder.
I know.
Baez has actually been playing his spots rather well, and he's hitting a little bit.
And he's hitting. Maybe that hip issue of last year really was a bigger thing, but right now, Javi Baez is not an issue on this team whatsoever.
No, he's been
he's
because he can play.
Yes.
They've got him playing in the outfield.
They got him going in center field. They got him playing third. He's willing to play any position to get on the field, and good for him as a veteran that has had some success in this league to be able to say, hey, I need to be able to adjust, and he's playing well for these Tigers.
What is he? He's hitting 289.
Exactly.
289.
And he's getting big hits when it counts.
He's got 4 ribbies.
Yeah.
It's
just man.
This is a guy that got booed on opening day.
Oh, it's
mercilessly booed on opening day. He's been a help. He's hitting better than Riley Green.
Yeah.
So, I would love to see him hit 275, 280, and be able to play wherever they need him.
Oh, my gosh.
Where would this team be right now without him?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't understand with the amount of good players we have on the DL right now.
Yeah.
We needed someone else to step up, and Javi Baez has been one of those guys.
Absolutely, Rich, 100%. Skubal pitched a beauty.
Oh, he was Tarek Skubal the other night.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Flaherty had an off night, so
he did.
You hope that he rebounds in this series.
Jackson Jobe had a good outing the time before. He goes tonight.
Yep.
So Spencer Torkelson continues to be playing well.
Yeah, he's got 6 home runs.
And he's playing good in the field too. He's made some diving He's real, and some of those short.
He's made a turnaround. We'll keep our fingers crossed that this is a whole season-long thing.
Yes.
Because really, the only time he did this was 2 years ago, and that was in the second half of the season.
Yeah. So when Kerry Carpenter, Torkelson, and Riley Green are all hitting, those 3 guys, that's a formidable trio right there in your lineup. So it's good when those guys can get all hot at the same time. Watch out. We're going to be scoring some runs here for sure.
They're certainly scoring more runs than we thought.
Oh, they absolutely are. We thought we would purely 100% be relying on this pitching staff, which, of course, we are. It's got like the 4th or 5th best ERA now in all of baseball. But still, the hitting has surprised a ton of people, including ourselves. They're scoring some runs. Their run differential is second best in the American League behind the Yankees. So that's a beautiful thing. When's the last time we were able to say that? Last year we won a lot of games, but it wasn't because of our hitting.
No, not at all. Let's shift gears to Rich's favorite conversation, mock draft.
Which one of 400 million do you want? Oh, my! Everyone's got a mock draft now. I think I have a nephew with a mock draft.
I'll tell you what, like Shedeur Sanders, is he going to go? When's he going to go? Where's he going to go? That's when the draft, blah, 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 blah. I agree with some of the guys that are talking about, he played excellent football at Colorado with 0 offensive line and a 0 running game.
Yes.
He was sacked 54 times at Colorado last year.
And he set the record for completion percentage.
54 times in college. Guys don't get that many sacks in college.
No.
Yep.
No, that was absolutely right. I totally agree. I think he's being undersold.
But the thing that is upsetting me, Rich, is now I'm starting to see more and more mock drafts, and they change every frickin' day.
Sure.
That Ashton Jenney ending up with the Bears.
That would not be good.
I do not want to see that.
I agree. I do not want to see them with some stud running back now to go along with the rest of that team.
Takes so much weight off of Caleb Williams' shoulders.
Oh, for sure.
I know they brought in a lot of guys, some of them injured, some of them older. If Ben Johnson and whoever their O-line coaches can turn that offensive line into a cohesive unit, blocking in front of Ashton Jenney with, what's his name, DeAndre Swift is the other back.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
that's a pretty powerful 1-2 combo.
Raiders, you better take Ashton Jenney.
Yes, that's my hope, is that the Raiders take him before Chicago gets a chance.
Or Carolina. You can take
whoever.
Someone
take them other than the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm lock, step, and barrel with you on that. Do not allow that.
So you and I were talking off air, and I highly doubt that the Lions are going to pick at the 28th pick.
Yeah, Brad Holmes is the mover and shaker.
Yeah.
He
hasn't done anything in the offseason.
Yeah.
So he's either going to move way up and, like, here's what CBS has him mocked as Josh Connerly. Do you know who that is?
I do not. Nope.
Another Oregon offensive tackle.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of O tackles.
I have too. Guys that are O tackles that can play guard, do some things like that. I can definitely see them addressing the offensive line.
I can see that too.
I can see them addressing the defensive line. You know, we really do need another young defensive end that can get to the quarterback.
You know, it just depends on if there's a good defensive rusher, edge rusher.
Right.
That kind of drops a couple of places, and then Brad puts the wheels on.
Yes.
I mean, I would just love to see him make the boldest move, especially if this mock is right and the Giants decide to take Shedeur at number 3, then the Lions move up and go get Abdul Carter, because almost everybody has the Browns taking Travis Hunter.
Then you would, Could you imagine that with that? That would be, you would like you said.
I would trade New England, my number one and our number one for next year if they would take that deal.
Yeah, you would have to, because again, you're expecting.
You might have to do it, throw in a 2 or 3 on top of that.
Because you're going from 28 all the way to the front end of that draft, and that's a huge jump.
But to put Abdul Carter and his cheap contract in this defense
with Hutch and all
it's
my
a fever
God.
dream, Rich.
It is exactly. I need to take some ibuprofen right now.
That is my bold prediction for the draft. When we come up here next week on Friday, we'll see if that.
We'll see.
If not, and depending where Shedeur is taken and everything else, then the Lions, you could easily see them moving back out of that 28th.
Oh yeah, I
picking
could
up
see
draft
that.
picks in the 2nd and the 3rd round, because the very top of this class, it's a very top-heavy class.
Yes.
You know, once you get into
a couple of positions, they're deep. The defensive line's pretty deep this year, which is good.
Yeah.
Running back is really deep. I wouldn't be surprised if in the middle rounds the Lions end up drafting a possible replacement for David Montgomery in a year or so, because Montgomery's taken a lot of, the way he runs, he's so physical, he's just not going to be the same.
Yeah, this mock draft at CBS that I pulled up is way different than a lot of people's. They've got Tyler Warren, the great tight end from Penn State, going to the 14th. But literally, after 12, 13, 14, no matter what, everybody kind of drops off from great to good.
Right. There's a big group of good. Yeah.
So it's either all chips in and go get Abdul Carter, or, bide your time. Maybe somebody else that they really, really like falls in at this 15, 16 range where they don't have to give up that much, because that's what his
MO
has been.
That's they got Terry and Arnold last year, moved up to get him. Not giving up a whole lot.
They've got Mike Green, the edge from Marshall, that everybody likes here at 17. But you're right. There's a lot of guys. They're not edge rushers. D-line is loaded.
Grant from Michigan.
Well, they got Grant going one pick before the Lions. To the Ravens.
Okay.
Which doesn't surprise you.
No, not at all.
John Harbaugh takes a U of M.
I would like him in a Lions uniform.
Yeah, I would take a look at that.
Yeah.
They've got some trades in here. It's a crap show.
Oh, it is. I mean,
you can get your popcorn.
You do. It's going to be entertaining no matter what. Again, in Lions fans.
I'm going to watch the other version. Luckily, I will reiterate that I haven't mentioned in a while how much I hate Mike Greenberg. Even though I watch him every day, I hate the preening son of a bitch.
And, so you'll be watching the NFL Network?
Yeah,
and,
no, because they do 2 versions of it.
ESPN
they do. Does the ABC version.
Yes.
That what's his name's on? Kurt Herbstreit and the college football guys.
I like Herbstreit.
And then they got, I don't need to see Mel Kiper and Greenberg. Hey, put the camera back on me.
Right, exactly.
Hey, what's happening? Put the camera back on me.
Right. It's got to be about me.
And one last thing we got to mention is Lee Corso stepping down.
I see that. Going to do one final show before he goes, and I think that's the right move.
I mean, he's 90.
Yeah.
You know, he's really battled through the stroke. And,
Yes.
and you clench your fists and go, spit it out, Lee.
Yes, exactly. And you don't want to see that.
No,
it's just
and they're moving on. That's why they brought in McAfee and Saban.
And yes.
You know, God bless Lee Corso. He turned that show. It is the biggest sports pregame show that there is.
Oh, exactly.
I mean,
It's
talk
huge.
about a franchise.
The popularity of that is through the roof, and Lee Corso gets a lot of that credit.
No doubt about
with
it.
donning the headgear towards the end of the show. Everyone looks. It was a good product.
Yeah, but I mean, he always did his homework too.
Oh yeah.
Lee
Lee was a good coach back in the day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So kudos to you, Lee.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it. Rich, anything else?
Oh, real quick, CMU men's basketball.
I saw that. Who is it?
Andy Brockema from Ferris State took him to won a national championship.
That's right.
And he's a McBain boy. Played for Coach Bruce Coltman on their state championship.
Outta here. Oh, that's awesome.
So I was texting Bruce back and forth, and he gave me a ton of information. So yeah, Andy Brockema played on the McBain.
Let's see if we get him on in the show.
2002. Yeah.
See if Bruce will give you his contact
Okay.
information.
Yeah.
Love to have him on.
Love to have him on. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
Fire up Chips.
And in his press conference, he talked about how proud of McBain he is and where he grew up and all that. So yeah, we'll try to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, good news. All right, and what's the entry count for the canoe marathon? How many?
Oh yeah, no entries yet because too early to sign up.
When does the window open?
It starts May 1st, I
Okay.
believe. So
All
yeah,
right.
just a few weeks away.
All right, shows you what I know. Thanks for joining us on Up North Sports Radio's Friday Face-Off, brought to us by TVCAirport.com. Please tune in here tomorrow at 9 o'clock for Finding Fairways.
Field safety, which those are ultimately either a 50-yard gain or a game-changing interception. He made a lot of plays on the football. So I think Nick Emanwari, for as much as Malachi Starks, who is another really quality safety and would represent the other part of the top tier of the safety class, Nick Emanwari, I think, is fantastic and will be instant impact. Think Derwin James, Jeremy Chin, Kyle Hamilton type player. Another one that I really like a lot is Walter Nolan from Ole Miss. He's a little bit of an enigma. He's a defensive tackle because he did not work out pre-draft. So we don't really have those numbers to look at. And in general, as a draft analyst, you like to have those numbers, and I'm sure the teams do as well. But he was a huge recruit. He goes to Ole Miss in his final season. The pass rushing productivity in terms of just creating pressure was there. It was elite level. So I think he's someone that isn't as big as Kenneth Grant or doesn't have multiple years of quality production like a Mason Graham, his teammate at Michigan. But Walter Nolan is someone that feels like, because he's a little bit smaller and there might be a little bit of a concern about being a one-year wonder, I don't have those concerns. I think the fact that he showed it in his final season and has long arms and can just really get up the field in a hurry, I think for those teams, like you're saying, picking later that need some more pass rush, maybe the Buffalo Bills on the inside, would make a lot of sense to pick Walter Nolan because I think he and Nick Emanwari have the athleticism and the refined skill sets to hit the ground running in the NFL.
CBS Sports, NFL Draft, and young NFL player analyst Chris Trapasso here on the show. I'm Bill Ryder. This is Ryder Than You on the Infinity Sports Network. Chris, one of the things that annoys me about draft coverage in the NBA and the NFL, and this is human nature, I think, right, is just it's hard, I think, for people to really put themselves out there and say, this guy's going to fail, and this guy's going to fail, and this guy's going to suck. And I understand it. I have a friend, Reed Forgrave, who once made a criticism about some guy in a draft, and the guy became a star, and it comes up every year. So in this social media era, it's really hard. But most guys don't make it, right? I mean, it's hard to succeed in these sports, especially at the quarterback position. So let me ask you the question this way, because I want you to sort of go 10,000 feet for us, for people listening. There's so much pressure. Jobs are on the line. There's so much at stake. In your experience, what are the biggest mistakes that organizations and front offices make this time of year when they actually start to make these selections?
Are you talking just quarterback position or in general?
I mean across the entire, and I mean the whole enchilada. Just maybe when you even analyze how they operate their draft and put together a class they hope will be successful.
That is a really good question, and another philosophical one that's like right up my alley, because I think it's important to go into a draft as an analyst and certainly as a general manager with sound philosophies. I think the biggest mistake in covering the draft and evaluating drafts for the last 10 plus years is that teams seem to be overconfident in their own evaluations, and we see massive trade ups. And I'm not going to say that every trade up instantly I'm going to think is a bad idea, but the best teams, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are the most sterling example of this. The best teams are getting compensatory picks through free agency. They're trading back. They're having drafts with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 prospects every year. Even last week, or I think earlier this week, their GM, Eric DeCosta, came out and said, like, we are going to get a lot of these guys wrong. We know that. We want to